Welcome to the Outlander Unhinged podcast, where we talk deep dives, wild theories, and the heart of Outlander. I'm Doreen.
I'm Liz.
I'm Jenny.
And I'm Katie. Grab your snacks, Sassenachs. It's time to talk about Outlander.
So, today's episode is going to be a little bit different because we are going to be playing a game of sorts, and we promise if you trust the process, it will be fun. Jenny, do you want to tell everyone today's topic?
Today's topic is the onions, the mushrooms, and the hard nuts of Outlander.
This sounds like a party, but no, really. I feel that everyone's probably thinking how weird that this topic sounds and what the heck are we talking about, but it's relevant, we swear. So some of you may know this and some of you may not, but Diana Gabaldon has done a crap ton of interviews discussing her approach in writing Outlander and the characters. And she has said that every character in the series falls into one of three categories: onions, mushrooms, and hard nuts. So today we thought we would pick 10 Outlander characters, divide them into categories, and then debate and defend our choices. Each of us picked 2 characters, and then we will, of course, debate on Jamie and Claire. We will present our characters and then open the floor for others to agree or disagree. And seriously, feel free to play along with us. That will make it much more fun. So I think before we get started, we're going to explain how Diana described each character so that we can understand the parameters. Katie, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. I'll start with the onions. So the way that Diana describes them are characters who reveal themselves slowly in layers, much like peeling an onion. She has said that she herself doesn't always know everything about them at the start, but the more she writes them, the more complexity and depth she discovers. Onion characters are the ones who grow with the story. They carry long arcs, evolve realistically, and continually surprise both the writer and the reader.
So interesting how Diana talks about how she categorizes her characters. It's so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The next category for the characters are the hard nuts of the story. It's important to note that there are 2 different types of hard nuts. The ones who Diana is just kind of stuck with to move the plot, and then the historical hard nuts, because they are real historical figures or because the plot demands their presence. Diana calls them the people you are stuck with, meaning they are not invented freely. Instead, they are dictated by history or by the demands of the story's framework. For example, if Diana is writing about the Battle of Culloden, she can't avoid certain real historical figures. They must appear and they must act within the bounds of what has been recorded in history about them. Because these characters are tied to history or plot necessity, she cannot mold them as flexibly. Their personalities, actions, or even fates are partly fixed. This makes them feel harder to crack open creatively, hence hard nuts.
And last but certainly not least, we've got the mushrooms. Mushrooms are the characters that just kind of pop up. Diana says she doesn't plan them, they just appear. But in the end, the mushrooms are important because they usually become fan favorites. They add spontaneity and they add a depth to the storyline as a whole. She says with mushrooms, she'll be writing a scene and suddenly they just pop up. They're alive, talking, and refusing to leave. Though unplanned, these characters often end up playing much bigger roles than she originally intended. They can even change the trajectory of a storyline because of how vividly they come to life. Mushrooms also keep the series from ever feeling too rigid or pre-planned. They also serve as a reminder that Diana writes organically, letting the story surprise her as much as it surprises us. And I just love that.
Okay. All that being said, I am starting with Buck McKenzie, aka Buck the Nuck. Who who I have as a mushroom. Supporting evidence. The dude never changes, okay? His personality is fairly consistent throughout the entire story. He's blunt, he's stubborn, he's opportunistic, and he's not particularly deep in any of his motivations. Now, I do say this with the caveat that he does change a bit, most notably like when he's with Roger and the children and learns he's a time traveler and he's the ancestor to all of them. But at his core, he stays extremely consistent. If I'm being honest, I mostly categorize him as a mushroom because of the way he's written. He's not written with a slow reveal of hidden depths the way that an onion would be. He's just kind of is who he is and stays that way. He is quite literally popping up unpredictably all throughout the series. You're just minding your own business, and then it's like, oh, hey, here's Buck again. Why is he here? And like Jenny said when she was describing the mushrooms, Diana said that these characters just appear, but in the end, they are very important to the story. And they often become fan favorites. I don't know about you guys, right? But for me, Buck definitely fits this category because when he's first introduced to you, you just think he's there to show Roger's ancestors. But as he continues to pop up, you realize how important he is to time travel and the timeline as a whole. I do think that it's possible, and I'm going to be careful what I say because I don't want to give spoilers, but I think that Buck's story and his categorization may change if we find out what the heck happens to him after book 9 and season 7 part B, because that man's future is an enigma. And for all we know, he could reveal more layers of himself and his story than we can even imagine, such as being his own ancestor. And I'm just going to leave it at that. So, that being said, Liz, where did you categorize Buck the Nuck Mackenzie?
I actually categorized Big Daddy Buck also as a mushroom. And
Yeah!
I love everything that you said. And my thought process was heavy on he really does pop up out of nowhere. I remember watching the show and thinking, who is this man? Like, we have not seen him before. There has been no mention of him. What is he doing? And then he was gone for a while. And then he came back as the Nucklevy. And I was like, oh, but I learned very quickly that I really do love Buck's character. So it's true that mushrooms can become fan favorites. So I agree with you, Doreen. I do.
Yes! This is maybe the one time we agree, guys. So make note of it. Make note of it.
Gosh.
What about you, Katie?
I also had him as a mushroom. Whenever I think of Buck, I do. It's just he is a mushroom. He just pops up in the story. We don't expect him or see him coming. And I am so surprised to say that I love Buck. I never back at the Battle of
Yes!
Alamance. Back at the Battle of Alamance, I was like, he's trying to kill Roger. Like, of
Dare
course, I would
you?
never like him.
Worse
Right.
But
things could happen.
he really grew on us, I think. And just seeing his softer side with Jem and Mandy,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, him being separated from his family, and then he really just drops everything to go back with Roger.
He did.
He
Yeah.
doesn't even he doesn't even hesitate. He's like, I'm going with you because this is my time. You're my, descendant. Like, I'm going to take care of you
Mm-hmm.
and your
Mm-hmm.
son. And that was amazing.
Yeah.
I really love his character so much.
Love it.
This makes me so happy. I feel so validated right now. Okay, Jenny,
Yay!
are we going to be unanimous, Jenny? What do you got?
We are unanimous. He is a mushroom. Now, like you, Doreen, I did think to leave enough room for character development down the road. Like you said, we have no idea what happened to Buck. And,
Mm-hmm.
when
Mm-hmm.
you think about it, we don't really have too much about his history other than what we've seen in the show and what we've read in the book. We know he's the child of Dougal and Galus. We know that he was adopted or, put into another family.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know the backstory that goes with that, if there was any like trauma that's there. So we don't have enough
Oh.
information to put him into an onion. So
Yeah.
for the moment, I look forward to him popping up constantly. So for
Mm.
me, he's an absolute mushroom. And there's really not much I can add to everybody's wonderful responses.
Oh, I feel so validated right now. I'm so happy. Okay.
Yay!
I think my next character we may all see the same as well, but maybe not. So, my second choice is the one and only Fergus Fraser.
Fine as
And
wine, Fergus.
I did pick him because I kind of acknowledge that he's a really interesting character and we may actually all view him differently.
Mm.
But for me, at the end of the day, he's an onion. I say this, I was on the fence about him. I spent so much time thinking about this character and his development leading up to this episode that I went back and forth 3 separate times. But the supporting evidence, and this is like thesis level for me, is what got me over here. So, supporting evidence number 1. Fergus is one of a few characters who develops and grows in every single book. His story is never flat, it's never predictable, and his personality and his motivations change constantly. When we first meet him, we're introduced to this little young French orphan. We don't know about him. We don't know much about his story. We don't know how long he will be around or if he's just there to push the plot forward. As we progress, we watch specifically how trauma after trauma literally changes him and forces him to continually shed layers of himself and grow into something new. And I think the first change that was marketable is when his hand was chopped off. Because after this, he had to adjust to an entirely new reality and way of existing. And in those moments, we really see him shedding his boyhood and overnight kind of becoming a bit jaded and changed. Then we watch him fall in love with Marcelly, and it reveals new layers of him and his heart, if we're being honest. We see him become vulnerable and shedding layers of trauma because he feels safe and he feels loved. And I would argue that he never really felt love, even when he was with Jamie and Claire, because it was wartime. And then afterwards, Jamie was mourning Claire. So everything about Fergus being safer and feeling loved during that time is a new layer of him. But it is quickly stripped away as soon as they get to America. Because in America, Fergus feels stripped of his entire identity and purpose. He's desperately trying to figure out where he fits in, how he can take care of his wife, his family. And we saw it even more in the books than the show, but we see it both really, that America is very different than what he was used to in France and even Scotland. It
Mm.
is frontiermen. They value hard labor. They value, for lack of better words, men being men. And him being disabled puts him at a great disadvantage. And I think that brings out deep rooted insecurities. And then, bam, just when you think things are settling down, he's happy on the ridge, he's happy with Marcelly and his babies, Henry is born. Dwarfism in that time was not something people understood. It was feared, it was shameful. And in that time, we see him shedding even more layers and he's exposing new parts of himself. Anger. We see him become a drunk and become physically abusive. Really dark layers are exposed to us in this time. He really is just unable to cope and becomes very hopeless. That's something we never really saw in him before this time period.
Mm.
And then, again, I'm going to be very vague, so not to give book spoilers, but events that take place in Written in My Own Heart's Blood I would argue change Fergus in the biggest ways. We see him shed so many layers of himself, and it's the first time that he's exposed to us fully. And addition to all of that, I do think that who his possible parents are may play a role in certain layers of himself and how they are revealed to us. So, watching him shed his layers, grow, digress through the books actually mirrors his own background and family history. In books 8 and 9, we quite literally learned Fergus's backstory. That's all I'm going to say. Not giving spoilers. But that in itself is a whole new layer that was shed and presented to us at the reader as a reader. And that is why I put him as an onion. So, that being said, Jenny, you better agree with me. Where do you have him?
Yeah, how do I not agree that he's an onion? You know, I have been,
Yes!
yeah, without a doubt. I, when you start thinking of him being introduced, you're like, why? What's the point of him in this story? What could he possibly bring? And then you start to learn more about him. And right now, I am re-listening to Bees. And again, without giving too much away, there is a conversation he has with another big character. And in this moment, in my mind, I am now seeing him like truly for the first time, like how much he's been through and how much trauma. And it, when I tell you, it was this aha moment in the book. And I think you just said that, Doreen, like he just starts to like peel back the layers. And suddenly there is this grown man who has seen more in his days and has experienced more in his days than maybe the average child growing up, on the grounds of Lallybroch within the crofts in the
Mm-hmm.
area. Um, he's he brings a warmth to me that, despite everything that he has gone through, from living in a brothel, being an orphan, not knowing his parentage, um, all of the devastation that follows with everything that Doreen just mentioned, that he still has this passion and fire in him when we get to book 9, that I feel like he risks everything knowing the importance of what's coming and what is at stake when it comes to the American Revolution. And to me, like that. It just blew me away that I could visualize him sitting back, being all French, and just like, I don't know how else to say that, but just so passionate in that moment that it really hit me how much he's been through. And really, what do you add after Doreen? She's just given us a dissertation. So yeah, I like going after her. It's easy. But yeah, so he's absolutely an onion, and I love his character. I really do.
I'm going to be so excited if you guys agree with both of my characters. Okay, Katie, what about you? Where do you have Fergus?
I'm so scared.
Oh no.
Okay, I totally see him as an onion. Okay, I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I think there's characters that can fit into multiple
Yes,
categories.
agreed.
Hybrids.
But I have Fergus as a mushroom because hear me out.
I'm so now. No, I'm just kidding. I'm so excited. I can't wait to hear this.
Like, Katie's gone. It was fun while it lasted.
Katie's screen goes black.
No, like, here's the thing. I welcome this discourse. When someone
Yeah.
comments on one of my videos and challenges me in a respectful way, I get so excited because it's like my brain heats up. I want to
Yeah.
debate in a healthy, respectful way. And that's what we do here. And I think this is where what we were talking about, how book and show is going to really give us different perspectives. So, okay,
Yeah,
let me hear. Let
100%.
me hear.
I agree with that because we don't get Fergus a lot, and especially like season 7, they're not there at all. So we miss out on a lot of their story. Um, but I have Fergus as a mushroom because we don't see him coming. He pops up in Jamie and Claire's life, and quickly becomes a character we all love. And he also comes at a time in their life where they really did need him, not just for, pickpocketing, but they were pregnant with Faith. And after that loss, I think it was probably somewhat of a comfort to have him there.
Got it.
Even though he's
Wait,
not biologically their child, he still is their child in
I
every
love
way that
that.
counts. And
Katie,
so,
that is really okay.
Yeah.
I will give
I
you
never
that. That
thought of
is
that.
very special. I like
yeah.
that thought. I like that.
Never thought of
So, I
that.
mean, it's easy to see why he's, a fan favorite because he's just so lovable. But I do see, and I'm excited to read about him more in the books because I know he's there a lot more. So,
I think when you guys were watching me crash out during season 7, the majority of it was significant storylines about Fergus that were left out. And I think when you get to that point of the book, you're going to be like, oh, Doreen's crash out makes so much sense now.
Oh my God.
So,
There's
all
so
right,
much,
Liz,
so much.
it's your chance, Liz. Let's hear what you got.
Okay, so I have Fergus listed as an onion and
man.
also as a mushroom. I have him listed as both.
Okay.
Okay.
And my reasonings are very, very similar to basically what all three of you have said before. I view Fergus as a mushroom more so in the show because we really don't get that much of him, meaning as much of him that we do in the books. We meet him when he is very young. We don't see him for a while. Obviously, we see him again when Claire goes back to the past, but 20 years have gone by. And Fergus really is a huge fan favorite for many book readers and many show watchers. And I think the fact that we get Fergus as a young child and then as a young adult, there's a whole gap of time that we have missed out on. And we don't really get to see what has happened to him and how he has grown. We only get snippets of it while Jamie is partly at Lallybroch during those 20 years that he's apart from Claire. I think that when Fergus becomes an onion, a lot of that really does have to do with pre-Battle of Culloden times. That's really where I see Fergus starting to come into himself, understanding that he's going to have to become a man, even though he is very young. And he has served a huge purpose in Jamie and Claire's life, exactly what Katie said. Fergus came into their life when he was so desperately needed, but Jamie and Claire also didn't know how much they were going to need him. And the role that he plays in their lives, suffice to say, is enormous, enormous. And Fergus is really part of what holds Jamie together all of those years that he is apart from Claire. And when we see his disability come into play and fall in love and experience all of his hardships, we're really starting to peel back all of the layers that we have not seen before, because Fergus has been carrying around all of these hardships, all of this baggage with him. And I almost see Fergus on the ridge as feeling safe enough to start shedding some of his layers, safe enough to start shedding some of his skin, to really show who he is at the core of his being, because he really does feel so safe.
I just want to add to that list. That's a great, explanation. When they're back on the ridge there, he feels what he felt as a child being within his community. And Jamie is there and Claire is there. And even though we all know that Jenny was really the mother to him, Claire was his first real mom who cared for him in that way. So everybody's back together. And then you've got all of these other people adding to the community. And I think you're right. I think that's a great explanation that that's where he felt relief to just say, I need to fall apart for a moment.
Yeah.
Great point.
Thank you.
Very good point. Especially because it supports my point. I'm totally
This is where it's going to change, folks. It's coming. Trust me.
Be prepared. Buckle up.
Well, now that everybody agreed with me but Katie, let's just go ahead and make her go next.
Oh, God.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, but you guys know my pick. My number one pick will always be Lord John Grey, better known as Lord John Bay all day. So I see how an argument could be made that Lord John is a mushroom, but I have him as an onion. Every time he appears, another layer of his character is peeled back. When we first meet him in season 2, or Dragonfly and Amber for book readers, he's this proper young man full of courage. He walks into enemy territory to take out Jaime. He doesn't give up information even when he's threatened to be harmed, and he defends Claire's honor without hesitation. By the time we see him again in season 3 and in the book Voyager, more of his personality is peeled back. He's now the governor of Ardsmuir, and he has this air of superiority. For example, when Harry Corey, the outgoing governor, suggests he keeps dinners with Jaime to stay in his good graces, Lord John really finds that idea abhorrent. And another layer is that he's very intelligent. He's highly educated, he's a capable tactician, and he's able to navigate complicated situations. So a layer that I feel that's really revealed more in the books is a vengeful side to him. Upon his new position as governor at Ardsmuir, he learns that Jaime is among the prisoners. He remembers his first meeting with Jaime, and he kind of revels in the fact that Jaime is his prisoner now. Jaime's eating slops, he's sleeping on a cold cell, and being flogged. Lord John controls the amount of suffering Jaime has to endure. But in that same thought, he knows he can't do anything to Jaime. He's a prisoner, and Lord John can't hurt him at the moment. Another layer peeled back is his humor. Thank you, Lieutenant Leonard.
That's a great scene. That really
It
was.
Honestly,
so good.
it was iconic.
Mm-hmm.
He has such a quick wit, and I just love that about him so much. So, as I mentioned earlier, we see the courage in him, but during his time at Ardsmuir, we also see a nervousness about Jaime discovering who he is. He remembers Jaime as this fearsome warrior who once humiliated him, so it makes sense that he would be a little intimidated. We also learn why he's at Ardsmuir in the first place, which reveals a softer, more vulnerable side of him. He'd been involved in a scandal. He was having an affair with a married man, and it was discovered. His brother Hal tried to cover things up and sent him to Ardsmuir. And after that discovery, I feel like we start to also see him as a bit of a tortured character. Over time at Ardsmuir, we see a softer side of him appear. Another layer is peeled back, and that's his kindness. He and Jaime form an acquaintanceship, and when the prisoners are eventually shipped to the colonies, Lord John ensures that Jaime is cared for. If Jaime has to remain imprisoned, Lord John makes sure it's somewhere where he will be fed, he has a place to sleep, he can work out in the open air, and he'll be doing something he loves, which is caring for horses. That kindness continues as he comes each quarter to visit Jaime, and their friendship grows. And that leads to him agreeing to raise Jaime's son, William, which is a huge role to accept. I do.
Okay.
Sorry. Moving closer to the center of who Lord John is, arguably one of his most defining traits is his honor. One recent example we see of his honor is the I have had carnal knowledge of your wife.
Mm-hmm.
Our favorite scene last season, right, Liz?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So in the show, we can physically see how uncomfortable he is, and he just blurts it out because he can't take it anymore. He feels like he's betrayed Jamie, and that just goes against who he is.
Mm-hmm.
More proof of his honor is that his word is his bond. It was because of Lord John's oath that Jamie's life was saved after Culloden. He promised to visit Jamie every quarter at Hellwater, and he kept that promise. He raised William. He made sure to look after and protect Bree during her stay with Aunt Jocasta at River Run. And there's many more examples, but I just take up all of our time listing them.
True.
He also lives with the constant weight of being a gay man in a time when it's punishable by death. And he never exploits or
Crazy.
manipulates anyone to hide that secret for him.
Mm-hmm.
Even when he falls in love with Jamie, he never acts dishonorably toward him. He values their friendship and Jamie's trust more than his own feelings.
Mm-hmm.
He's also a soldier. He has a sense of honor for his king and country. And we see the strain that causes between him and Jamie in season 7. But I think the layer that is the center of the onion, who Lord John is at the core, is loyal to his family, his friends, and his country, even when those loyalties clash. While much of what he does for Jamie and Claire comes from his love for Jamie, it also is because of his steadfast loyalty. When he counts someone as a friend or family, he would travel to the ends of the earth for them. So, what did you guys think? Doreen, what did you have him as?
Okay. Well, I have him not only as a mushroom, but as the ultimate mushroom. But I'll give you a brief reason why, but I do want to say that you just said something so powerful that I had never thought about and is so true, that Lord John never once expects anyone, like, he never uses him being gay or anything as leverage or expecting anyone to use. I can't think of how you said it now, but when you said it, it was such an aha moment. Like, you're right. He never is inappropriate with Jamie, even though the way he feels. He never crosses that line. Like, he's just a man of honor. And he never uses that. And I just thought that was really significant. But
because Bree, she confronts him and she's like, I could tell people this. And he doesn't like do anything. He's just like, well, you know what will happen to me if you say anything.
yeah, and he's
And
powerful,
he's not,
and he could say, if
yeah,
you tell, I will do this, but he doesn't. That's what I'm like, he doesn't
exactly.
use it as leverage. That's like, as you're saying,
Yeah.
it's brilliant. But to me, he is the ultimate mushroom, because I saw an interview where Diana was talking about how she was writing Dragonfly and Amber, and she just put him in as a small side character because she needed him to advance the plot. And for whatever reason, like, she could not get rid of him. She was saying he had such a strong voice, he demanded more time, and like, he's arguably become a fan favorite to the point where he has an entire spin-off. So to me, that's basically what a mushroom is. Like, he showed up, his presence was demanded, we all fell in love with him, and he demanded so much that he got an entire spin-off. And so to me, that's an ultimate mushroom. But
and that's what I'm saying. Like, I could see him as a mushroom too, for sure. But I think the more we get to know him, there's so many layers to him, that he's so much more than this honorable soldier that we're introduced to. And I think he fits really well in both categories.
yeah, I think there's quite a few hybrids. And as we go through the list, I have quite a few too that I was on the fence. Like, they were hybrids. So, yeah.
Because I honestly did consider putting him as a mushroom, but I'm like, there's so many layers to him, though. Like, you can't deny that he's so much more. Like, there's so much to him. But he also did pop up out of nowhere, became a fan favorite, so I see both. I do.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Jenny, what did you have him as?
I have like notes going on here. Like, all right, so Doreen just said, we all fell in love with him. Did we? Did we all fall in love with him?
I
So,
did.
like, let's start with this. He's a mushroom, but there are some poisonous mushrooms. And Doreen,
Hold on a second.
what?
Absolutely not. We are
Wait
not
a minute.
having no. We are not
Wow.
having Lord John Grey slander. We are not. You are outnumbered. No.
This is the
No.
first.
Not
Katie,
my
don't
Lord John
take
Bay all
this.
day.
Katie,
I
don't
know.
stand for it.
Wow.
So, like, I know he's everybody's fan favorite. I just think he's a little Outlander unhinged. Everybody thinks that the things that he does are noble, and they're not. He's got like an
What?
obsession with Jimmy. And like, look, he
That's the point.
decided to marry the aunt. He decided to marry the aunt of William to stay closer to Jamie. He inserts
No.
himself in all of these moments.
No.
I
I
disagree
don't
with
think
that.
so. I disagree. Go ahead, Katie.
I was just gonna say, like, I think that was a very big potential match for him anyway, because their families knew each other, they were good friends, and he had known Isabel for a long time. So I honestly think that that was a potential match for
All right,
him.
rebuttal.
Um, and
If he was that
they're
noble, he would have never married her, leaving her to
Okay,
go have a happy marriage with a man who was not gay. And I have nothing
rebuttal.
against that, but go ahead, go ahead.
She knew. She and he fulfilled his husbandly duties,
he did.
and
Sure did.
not only that, she needed someone who could keep the secret about the true parentage of William. So as a result
Mm-hmm.
of that,
Oh yes.
she was expecting him to live a lie just like he was expecting her to live a lie. And I say that very loosely. I'm doing air quotes if you can't see them. And
Mm-hmm.
and also you could argue that after everything that we know, the scandal that Lord John was a part of, he needed to get married. And she needed to get
Mhm.
married so that she could raise William legitimately after everything that happened. And he
Yeah.
allotted her that and fulfilled his duties just like he did with Claire. Okay, I
Still
love
And
you,
not
I
swaying
Jenny.
me.
No, I love
Still
you.
not
I
swaying me.
honestly, but I mean, I think it's also like Jamie is his best friend at the end of the day. Yes, he's in love with him, but Jamie's his best friend. Like if something were to happen to Liz, like I would, if or if something where she's like, I need you to watch my kid. If we live closer, I'd be like, yeah, sure, give me your kid. It's not that I'm like obsessed with her. I think it's just what you do for someone you love. Like he saw Jamie was in a time of need.
Mm-hmm.
There, Isabel was raising William. Jamie is also, or Lord John is also close with Jamie, so he could give him updates on how Willie is doing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think it comes from an
Yeah,
obsession. I
I
think it
am
comes from him wanting to help.
I'm just
I
not a fan of it. He inserted himself into a situation that he did not need to. William would have been raised perfectly at Hellwater without his interference.
But
Jamie
he
knew
wouldn't
I
have
enough
had
to
a
will.
leave.
male he wouldn't have had a male role model though.
Sure he
Because
would.
his
Nope.
grandfather, I mean, his
Sure he would. She
grandfather
would,
wasn't, he was going to get older and die, so he needed a
and
father figure.
But
Isabel would
rebuttal.
have kept the secret herself and known the story and been able to marry someone else. He came in there, and I get what you're saying that they're each keeping each other's secrets, but it could have been kept anyway because Jamie was no longer living there. I just think he overly inserts himself, and yeah,
Okay.
and look, I'm not saying he's a bad guy for what he did for Claire. When it
See,
came
I
to, go ahead.
I don't want to talk over you, but I would actually support your train of thought here and say that it is what he did with Claire is where I would start to agree with you. Like, even though he did it to keep her alive, he did not need to sleep with Jamie's wife to feel close to Jamie, to have his one chance. That to me was a lot creepier than him marrying and
Right.
raising William.
So,
But
all right. So now
that's
he's
the only.
finding how to. Go ahead.
I'm just watching Liz trying to say what she wants to say, but just watching us all lose our
No, I'm just watching
minds.
all of this
So
unfold before me. It's glorious.
We knew
This
this
is going to be
episode.
Jenny and I later.
You guys are
I just
finally
think-
understanding why our episode is called Outlander Unhinged. I need to know where Liz categorizes him. I need to know because I need her to enter the conversation.
Okay. So I have Lord John Bay all day at a mushroom turned onion, and I will explain why. When we first meet Lord John, he's a young 16-year-old, and he literally pops out of nowhere. And I remember thinking, like, who does this little kid think he is trying to take out our Jamie? Like, what is he doing? The audacity of him to do that. And then we really didn't see him again for quite some time until season 3, book 3. And I will say, there is a very particular moment that has always stayed in my mind about Lord John Grey, and it is the moment I really felt very pulled to him. After Jamie escaped Ardsmuir prison to swim to Selkie Island, this was after the conversation with Duncan Kerr about the gold and the treasure and the Butchak Ban, the White Witch. Jamie was hiding out on one of the islands, and Lord John Grey made it out there to search for Jamie. And Jamie confronted Lord John Grey to say, you vowed to me that if you ever saw me again, you would unalive me, you would take my life. And here I am. And Lord John Grey says to Jamie, I am not a murderer of unarmed prisoners. And that moment for me, I have like goosebumpies just thinking about that moment for me, made me feel like this is a good man right here. This is an honorable man. This is a loyal man.
That's a good man, Savannah.
Who takes his job very seriously, but also...
Can I ask a question to that before you finish?
Please, yes.
Okay, now I feel like I'm going on to Jenny's side here. I'm all over the place. Do you think that he would have done that if he did not have feelings for Jamie? If he was not attracted to him?
I do.
I think he would have made the same choice. Yeah.
I do. Okay. Because I think...
All right, I'm so sorry. Continue your thought. Okay.
You're good. I think above all, Lord John Grey is very heavy with his sense of honor and loyalty. I think he puts that far above everything else. But so once we start seeing Lord John Grey's relationship develop with Jamie, I almost see that as a form of inertia, because inertia is an object in motion, stays in motion until an outside source makes it stop. And the thing is that there's nothing that has ever stopped Lord John Grey from loving Jamie, respecting Jamie, even through their arguments, through their disagreements. Lord John Grey had stayed true to who he is and how he feels about Jamie. And his love for Jamie, I think, we see from the very beginning, is at the center of who Lord John Grey is. And Jamie is the thing that pushes Lord John Grey forward and allows him to start peeling back the layers of himself so we can really see not just who he is as a soldier, but who he is as a man, who he is as a friend, who he is as a partner, a father, someone you can trust and confide in, So I'm very much on board with Lord John Grey. Really did start out as a mushroom because we didn't know where his character was going when we
Mhm.
first met him, but we later see how deep he is and how many layers of himself we have been able to peel back and see the man that he has become at this point in the story. And I'm very excited to see more of him and more of his story play out.
Can I
All
just
right.
say that I didn't know there was an option to pick two because I would have.
I have a couple. I have hybrids. But I just want to say something. And this is again why I just want to defend my pick as a mushroom. And it's actually everything Liz said was right. It was very right. But to me, that just proves that he's a mushroom because he never
Mhm.
changes. He does not, he's always exactly the same. You know how he's going to respond in every situation. You know what he's going
That's
to
true.
do. He never changes. He does not evolve. His
All right. So
story
here's what
Yeah.
I want
is
to add
revealed
in.
to us in
I feel like he
layers,
does
but he
evolve,
is not
though. I do.
revealed to us in layers.
Mm.
I do. Yeah, I do. I feel like he evolves. I feel
I
like
don't.
he's got a lot of layers to him.
I don't feel like he evolves as much as he should. Every decision he makes in this story affects, or how am I going to word this? Everything he does is for Jamie. Everything.
Yeah.
Am I
His
wrong?
motivation never changes. I agree with that.
Correct.
And I came
Yeah.
hard at
So
you, Jenny. I'm
again,
sorry. I do love you.
I just don't think. Um, I just think he has an angle. He comes in, he takes over, and you, I am going to be in your life, whether you like it or not. I'm going to marry a woman to take care of your kid. I'm going to marry your daughter to save her from marrying somebody else. I'm going to raise your son alone. It's not, yes, he loves William, but why does he love William? It's because of Jamie. Why does he eventually care for Claire?
Oh,
Because it's for Jamie. I'm not
No,
saying that it doesn't
I
turn into it, but
he loves
it, look,
mm-mm.
he
No.
he married Isabel to, oh, you guys got to stop talking over me. I haven't gotten into anything. His marrying Isabel was an angle to gain favor with Jamie. I'm not saying he doesn't love William. I think it comes. At the end there, he did a very good job with him, but who was it for in the end? It was he's obsessed with Jamie and he has inserted himself into his life.
But didn't Jamie specifically, I'm not at this point in the book yet. Well, I am, but I don't remember it being in the book. In the show, Jamie specifically asks Lord John to look after William.
Yes.
Doesn't he?
What's that part,
Yes.
Doreen?
yes. Yes, he does.
So, I mean,
And
what?
But
to
but
that
what had
point,
happened?
I
He
think
said,
it
"By the
kind of
way, I'm already
tracks.
engaged." Go ahead. Sorry.
I think it tracks. I think it supports. Like I can see both sides of that because Jamie asking him could support both what you're saying and what Jenny's saying, depending on like which side of that coin you're looking at. And I don't think
Mm-hmm.
that any of us are ever going to agree on. He's a polarizing character, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you know, I can. I am steadfast in thinking he's an onion. I mean, I'm steadfast in thinking that he's a mushroom. I don't think that his character develops at all. But I like his character. I think that I can agree with what Jenny's saying that he inserts himself a lot when he doesn't need to, but I don't think it's done in a way that is creepy. I think he genuinely acts out of love. And yes, he loves
Mm-hmm.
Jamie. It's weird how much he loves Jamie in the sense that like Jamie's married and he's so involved with Jamie's life. But I think that's by
Mhm.
design because all of these characters are supposed to be very in each other's lives.
Mm-hmm.
That's
But
how
I
they stay
think like
connected.
in And as I introduce like the onions, like Diana describes them as characters who reveal themselves slowly in layers. So like you're peeling an onion, you're learning who they are at the core. So I think even though we know the decisions that he's going to make at the end of the day, it's because he's honorable, and that's a layer of him that we see, but then we also see the softer side of him. We see, because when we're first introduced to him, he's this spoiled kid that's trying to kill Jamie, right? Like, so he's so much more than that. And even when he first arrives at Ardsmuir, he's like, I'm not gonna dine with that, blah blah blah. He's just very snooty, but there's
Mm-hmm.
so much more to him. And the more we spend time with him, the more we get to see. And I would say, like in the description that I said, they carry long arcs. I feel like he does. He's in William's life. He carries William's story with him,
Mm-hmm.
which,
Mm-hmm.
we know is important later when they reconnect. So I don't know. I mean, but again, like, I feel like he is in both categories very well, but I didn't know we could pick two, or I would have had a mushroom argument.
Okay.
I just
I think we've all,
let me just
yeah.
answer to Katie's in at least in the show, because I don't remember this part in the book. He had already asked Isabel to marry him. So he had already had it ready to go. That was his answer to her. So again, I feel like there's an angle there. That's all. Does
Yeah.
that make
We
sense? I
respect
mean,
you,
And
am
then
I
Jenny. We
I
remembering it
respect
wrong?
you, and
What's up?
no, that is how it happens. That is how it happens. And I respect your passion, but I don't think we'll all
Mm-hmm.
ever agree on this one. So we
And
probably
it's
have
not
to move
fun
on
being
to
No.
on
the
this
next
end,
one.
just so you know. This is not
Mm.
easy being
Hasn't
on
been
this end.
fun. We love you
just
so
to
much,
give Jenny
Jenny.
some credit, I
Yes, we
mean, to give
She
do.
was
Jenny some
brave.
credit, like two things, but two things can be true at the same
Yeah,
time,
a
Yes.
hundred
right? Like,
percent.
he is very honorable, but like I said, his decisions and the things he does comes from his love for Jamie. But it's
Mm-hmm.
also because he is honorable. It's also because he's loyal.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think, Jenny, you have a point that his love for Jamie pushes a lot of the things that, or a lot of the decisions that he makes. I will
Mm-hmm.
agree
Yeah,
with
Mm-hmm.
and
that.
you know what? I
Mm-hmm.
had written
Yeah.
down that Dorian said he never crosses the line, and I think he does when it comes to Jamie. I think it's always one step over when it comes to him of
Mm.
what he's willing to do for him.
Mm,
Oh.
That's that.
I just
So,
think
okay.
when I view him, I see him as a very good friend that happens to be in love with his best friend. I,
Mm.
I personally don't see where he crosses the line, but I just think that he is someone that Jamie knows he can count on at the end of the day. And I don't know. I just think that makes a good friend. That's a friend, right? Somebody you can call at the end of the day and say, "Hey, I'm in a pickle," blah 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 blah. Lord John would move mountains for Jamie, and
Mm-hmm.
yes, that has to do with his love for him,
Mm-hmm.
but he's also his best friend, and he's
Yeah.
loyal to the people that he loves and cares about. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Anyway.
not
All
changing
right. Let's
anybody's minds today.
I think Frank and Lord John are probably going to be our longest debates here. So, I think
Oh
that'll
my
work.
God.
Yes.
This is going to be like a 3 hour podcast.
okay. So my second pick is Colin Mackenzie. I
Mm.
really love his character so much, and I love that we're getting to see some of his backstory in Blood of My Blood. Colum is one of those characters that you think you have figured out. He's the powerful laird of Castle Leoch, commanding and in control. But the longer we spend with him, the more we realize there are so many layers to him. So I feel like he is, like Lord John Grey, an onion. Um, I feel like his outer layers are there because of the things that he has endured and experienced in his life. It's almost like his armor. So for him, for Lord John, I kind of went outwards to inwards, who he is at his core. But I feel like for Colum, I have to start with who he is at the core and then work my way out. So At his core, similarly to Lord John, I think is Colum's loyalty to his duty as laird, his family, and his clan. It's really his compass. He'll do absolutely anything to protect his clan and preserve the Mackenzie name, even if it costs him personally. We see the way he shoulders the responsibility of being laird despite his condition. He lives every single day in pain, but he refuses to step aside or show weakness because he believes the clan's survival depends on his strength. And his loyalty isn't just to the clan, it's to his family as well. He's fiercely loyal to Dougal, even though Dougal often pushes for things that threaten the clan's safety, like in season 1, book 1, when Dougal is secretly collecting money for the Jacobite cause. Colum is furious when he finds out, and he shuts it down because he knows it could bring ruin on the clan if they're seen as traitors. But he doesn't exile Dougal or strip him of his power. Instead, he really does protect him from the fallout, and he tries to contain the damage. He knows Dougal is reckless, but he's also family. And for Colum, family is sacred. He'll discipline his brother if he has to, but he's not going to abandon him. So I feel like these examples also show Colum's sense of duty and honor. So there's another layer to him. The next layer I feel like we see is his vulnerability and his humanity. We get small glimpses of how deeply his disability affects him, not just physically, but emotionally too. He knows he was seen as a disappointment by his father, and that really left a mark on him. It hardened him, yes, but it also left behind this deep, quiet sorrow beneath the surface. He was also deeply hurt by his sister Ellen running off with Brian. Ellen was the one who cared for him and saw past his disability. When she left, he saw that as a betrayal, but more so, it just really broke his heart. Another layer to him, and one I feel like people recognize the most, is his cunning and strategic mind. Colum is absolutely brilliant at reading people and situations. He's always 3 steps ahead. Claire finds this out very quickly when he keeps giving her the wine, seemingly to be kind and welcoming, but he's really just trying to get her to spill the truth or give some small clue as to who she is and what her intentions are there. And we see it also with Dougal. Dougal is hot-headed and popular with the clansmen, which does make him a potential threat. Colum keeps him busy collecting rents and raising funds for the Jacobites, giving Dougal a sense of authority, so there won't be any challenge there. Colum is also skillful at planting tiny seeds of doubt with just a single look, pausing, or an ambiguous comment like, I perhaps, though some might say otherwise. And we really see this in Blood of My Blood. It sows uncertainty while keeping his own hands clean. I feel like people underestimate him, and he definitely uses that to his advantage. The outer layer, in my opinion, the traits that we see at first glance, are his pride and his authority. Colin projects this hard, commanding exterior, and it works. People respect him and even fear him a little. That pride is partly armor, though. It shields the fact that he's constantly battling physical pain and that he's always worried about how long he can keep doing this. That need to appear strong is another layer he's built to protect himself and the clan. So, Liz, what did you have for Colum?
I actually have Colum as a hard nut. I do.
I can see that. I
I
really
have him
can.
as a
I can
hard
see
nut.
that.
And I will preface that by saying I do not think that Colum is a hard nut in the sense where Diana calls them the people she's stuck with. I don't see it as that. I see Colum as absolutely necessary to the plot lines surrounding Jamie. That was really where my thought came from. Because when we meet Colum, we know that he is Laird of Clan Mackenzie, and Jamie is under the protection of Clan Mackenzie. But when Claire also
Mhm.
comes through, Colum is one of the first people that Claire meets when she's at Castle Leoch. And so I think for those specific reasons, Colum is a hard nut because his story is incredibly important. And I agree with everything that you said, Katie, about all of the layers of Colum. I think with the prequel show that's happening now, we're getting a little more insight into the very beginning of Colum's story, and there's even more layers to pull back there. But I still see Colum as a hard nut because specifically to Outlander, he is necessary to move the plot forward and to serve a purpose in Jamie's life. Because remember that the book is coming from the perspective of Claire telling Jamie's story. So we're watching all of these things unfold. So I see Colum as a hard nut, and that his character is needed to move the story along.
Yeah, I definitely see that. So Jenny, what did you have Colum as?
I don't want to answer anymore.
Is it
Okay,
that bad?
Jenny,
so
I'm
Oh
so
no.
sorry.
I
I
read
came.
this list. No, it's all good. Like, this is the first time I've been nervous. So,
Well,
you know, I
No.
read this list.
don't feel alone because I'm picking like the onions and you guys are disagreeing. So you guys are disagreeing with me too. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with your picks
No,
because
no, no, no,
I
no.
think
It
both of these characters really are hybrids.
okay. So I have Colum as a hard nut, but
Mm.
I think the entire purpose. I think his entire story could have been cut out, and I don't know that I like thinking like in Doreen's face. I don't think there was a purpose to him.
Who are you?
I know this is rough. I I'm just I'm just answering. Well, this has
I
actually been my
love and
security
respect
blanket.
you. You know what, Jenny? Actually, I
Okay,
love this is making me so happy. I love the discourse. Go.
okay. So I get the idea that someone is in the story to move a plot point. So when you first said we're going to do this, I was like, oh, this is interesting. I read through the things and I texted you. Do you think she changes her mind as she's writing a character? Do you start out as a hard nut and then all of a sudden you become an onion, or whatever, the course is with these types of characters? So then I thought about Colum when you said that was one of your picks, and I wondered who she designed first. Did she design Dougal or did she design Colum? Now, in the books, we see it revealed that Dougal comes first. So I thought, okay, so what would be the purpose? Maybe she did think of Colum, but his entire story really could be written out because his whole purpose is Dougal's storyline going forward.
I understand. I actually understand what you're saying because you're saying that Dougal could drive that whole story forward without Colum
Mm-hmm.
even being
Absolutely.
present. Because
Yeah, I
yeah,
lost my
Right.
total train of thought in what I've gotten written here. So my thought was, did she invent
Mm-hmm.
Dougal
Mm-hmm.
and then realized that he was overbearing and he was dangerous? So she wrote up Colum, but then needed a way for Dougal to still stay in charge. So she gave him a disability that he could not be both war chief and laird. But if you took Colum, really doesn't do anything in Outlander that changes the course of anyone. So I had a really
Mm.
I
hard
see.
yeah.
time
Yeah.
picking where to put him.
I can rebuttal that real quick in the most respectful.
Yes,
I'm not going to
yes.
talk over you. I love you so much way. I think
No,
that
and I felt
okay.
bad that I
I'll
said
just
that
Katie before
before.
you even. Oh, don't feel bad, girl. I love this so much. And Katie, before you even ask me, I too have Colum as a hard nut. And Jenny, to your point, I understand where you're going with that, and I would agree wholeheartedly that Dougal could drive the storyline. However, historically, and to be historically accurate, Clan Mackenzie does not support the Jacobite cause fully. And there has to be discourse about one of them in the Jacobite Rising, and there's a conflict there. And we also need the conflict of Jamie, because the way that Dougal feels about Jamie, he would never have helped Jamie. He would never brought him to the castle if Colum wasn't there. So I agree with you that she probably wrote Dougal first and then was like, ooh, I got to balance this out somehow. And that's where Colum came. But I have him as a hard nut mostly because, like, even though in Blood of My Blood we're getting a deeper perspective on him, I feel like it's a very big character shift. I think that his physical limitations basically shape every aspect of his character. And him being Clan Mackenzie's, chieftain is his only character trait. He never evolves past it. He's a means to an end, and he's not a true historical character, but he is in the sense of what we need to happen with the clan, the rising, and we need somebody who's pragmatic, but he's very one-dimensional. Every single solitary decision that he makes is for the good of the clan, even his own death. You are never surprised by anything he does. Nothing new is ever revealed. And I say that with the caveat of in Blood of My Blood, which is not, in my opinion, canon, okay? He did make some surprising decisions that I thought were out of character, so I could see that giving him more dimension and layer as a character. So.
And I'll be honest, like, I think a lot of my, now that I really stop and think about it, like, I think a lot of my, because I'm really enjoying his character in Blood of My Blood. And I think that probably made my decision for me is we're getting his backstory. And there is that vulnerability there that we kind of got a little bit in Outlander, but like you guys said, if you strictly go by Outlander, I would agree that he's a hard nut. It's just the addition to Blood of My Blood that I think we're really seeing the layers to him. Because like you said, Doreen, like he's a different character in Blood of My Blood. So
And I do have that written
yeah,
here.
I think you guys
too
make
am
great
enjoying
points.
that.
I wonder if that is more canon from Diana. We don't really know yet until we get the books for Blood of My Blood down the road.
Yes.
So I really was trying to not be influenced by what I know of him in Blood of My Blood versus what I know of him in Outlander itself. I still am of the opinion that there could have been like, that's what Ned is there for. Ned is supposed to even things out and help him make good choices, Dougal. So I kind of stick with that. We could have gone
See,
without
I'm the
him.
latest
odd one
Although
chapter
out
that
both times.
the latest chapter that she just put out for the Blood of My Blood, which is not what
Yep.
she's going to call it, but it actually changed the way that I looked at Ellen as a whole. Like, it was this aha moment for me. So I do think that, Katie, I agree with you. Like, Blood of My Blood has changed the way I look at a lot of characters, and so has chapters that she has decided to release from the prequel book. So it's interesting, and that's, I think, again, and I know I keep repeating it, is I was so I kept saying, I think we're going to have very different perspectives basing our opinions on books versus show. Okay, guys, I think none of us expected us to get this heated and to go this long. So honestly, we're going to have to divide it into 2 episodes, especially because Liz and Jenny have very controversial characters. So we're just going to have to move that into another episode.
All right. I want to know if anybody can guess who my next person will be and who Liz's next people will be. If you have an idea, type them in the comments. Let us know who you think we're going to talk about next week. And honestly, I think I need to go have a shot of whiskey at this point. This was crazy today. Please, guys, this was so much fun to do. And as heated as a discussion as this became, we all love each other like immensely. And this is what good discourse sounds like, being able to get to the end of the discussion and feel good about each other. And I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
Yes, and please also find us on TikTok. Let us know whether you agree or disagree, where you would place the characters. And definitely tune in next week, because if you stay till the end of the episode, we may just have a surprise for you guys.
We will see you in the space between.
And until next time, stay Outlander unhinged.